Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VSL StarCraft 2 Team League. This something that just started very recently, and I believe is put on by Twitch Korea. The two teams playing to start this match. This is going to be game 1, best of 7, all-kill format. And I have not seen these games. This is going to be your English coverage of the tournament. These will be done on the day of the tournament from here on out, but this is the first match, so I did not expect to be doing it so early. So in the bottom right, we have Ryang, a blue Terran player. He faces off against the red Protoss in the northwest. Playing under a barcode is Billowy. And this should be fun. I've been looking to cast a little bit more StarCraft, and I noticed that the VSL didn't have an English broadcast, so I was like, why not do it at a nice English time zone for everybody to be able to check out. I do not have the fancy production studio to do overlays and all of that jazz, so yeah, you're not gonna see the crazy stuff. I can't replace the barcode or whatever. Ryang, Frozen Temple. This is a map that's known for pretty aggressive Terran play. He's gonna pull some SCVs off to keep the probe harass away. Billowy opening with an extremely standard Nexus after Gateway. Gonna take the second gas a little bit later. This is pretty normal so far. And it's going to be a Reaper opening from Ryang with the SCV going down to take the natural expansion very quickly. So a lot of Terran players still like to go for the Reaper into 2 racks. You know, Medevac, Stim, Rush. Very similar to the build that's used in Terran versus Zerg. Ryang is a bit of a clever guy though, so maybe he'll do something a little bit different. Remains to be seen. There is the second barracks. That's about as much as you'd expect. You saw a lot of these style out of Byun at BlizzCon recently, who, of course, is the world champion of 2016. And Billowy, Cybernetics Core will be finishing up soon. So we are going to see what kind of tech path he wants to take, what direction he wants to move forward with everything. Mothership Core straight away. So not going to rush out anything like a quick Stargate and delay the Mothership Core. Just wants to have that early defense since the Reaper is going to be showing up momentarily. Is inside the main base. Ryang wants to know what is going on. He's going to throw that grenade. Doesn't really get too much. He doesn't see any tech. Now, there hasn't been any placed just yet. So, behind this, he's getting his factory very soon, I imagine. Third barracks is on the way. Tech lab and natural expansion finishing up. Reaper does come back in. Almost getting a probe kill there. One of them still very low, but the shields have regenerated. It is going to be a robotics facility opening. So, we might see some quick adept play. We might see some fast warp prism play with that, or it could just be very standard follow-up with the Twilight Council to go blink stalker observer, which is also pretty normal since we do have a stalker on the way. Meanwhile, Ryang actually hasn't rushed out that factory super fast. He just wants to get his stim, pump out a lot of marines with this reactor. He's going to have a lot of units, which would definitely help with harass, and this Reaper's going to come in. Should be able to finally get the scout out for Ryang on the robotics facility. He sees it. And he will pull back. Maybe he escapes. Nope. Reaper's going to barely die at the last second. So, Marines are starting to come out. There is the factory now on the way. So, we'll have Stim for quite a while before Medevac's out in the field. I don't know that he's going to try to make a move out on the map and get any damage done. But that option is there for him to try and make some sort of poke. The Marines dancing around. He breaks the rocks. Nothing crazy happening just yet. And just going to start to get a little bit of a wall off towards the natural. Always useful versus adepts. We do have more stalkers being pushed out one by one. And we do have also the observer coming in from the robotics facility. No third. The gases are just now starting. A lot of Protoss that play this defensive style will try to grab that third around the 4-minute, 30-second mark. So interested to see if he's going to do that because he did start the gas here. And it's going to be straight into Immortals. Now, this could just be him anticipating this large amount of bio units coming to push across. He hasn't too much information about what Ryang is doing. All he saw was that it was a Reaper opening, which frankly doesn't give you quite enough information at this stage. So Immortals are always going to be good for helping to hold things down. Sees the Marine out front, and this is going to be the first real information that Billowy is able to get of Ryang. This is the first time he's going to see, and the scan immediately kills that observer, so he doesn't really see anything. He doesn't see anything. Just that there's a lot of Marines. We do have a robotics bay as well as a forge, so maybe the plan here, a lot of Korean Protoss players do like to go for the Colossi But this early without the third base makes things very interesting because this is such an aggressive map usually. You see a lot of that two-base aggressive play from Terrans without a thirds command center on the way. It's not the worst thing ever. It seems like Billowy didn't want to take that chance of getting caught off guard by anything. He just kind of has a bit of a paltry gateway army with that Immortal mixed in and continuing to just replace the observers that he's already lost. He has a little bit of map vision. He's kind of getting ready for drops. And Ryang is just powering up. There's really nothing crazy happening here. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way, so we will have the Colossus opening on 2 base. This is actually like super... This is a super Heart of the Swarm build out of Billowy. This very, very late third, coupled with just defending the drop. And it's weird because in this scenario, this is where a Terran player could have gotten away with going for a much faster third base, but obviously Billowy didn't want to take that chance. Especially since the Twilight Council is also late. There won't be Blink available anytime soon or Resonating Glaives to deal with these Marines. Ryang's going to drop a single Marine out as his +1 attack finishes to try and see now this third base. Now he knows it is here. The Observer barely catches a glimpse of these medevacs, so the Stalkers are going to move back in towards the main base with the Immortal, with the Zealots, as the first Colossus finishes up. And there's the drop with 2 pylons in the face. Ryang's going to pull back. He doesn't want to get caught by that Photon Overcharge. He's going to load up another 2 medevacs to go to the left side as he starts his third CC, and the Observer is aware of this. So drops the scan in the main base, wants to see where the army is. That Colossus kills the lone Marine. These 2 medevacs go to the back of the main. He needs to be so careful. The pylon is going to be overcharged. 2 medevacs just south of the natural expansion. Gets spotted by the Observer. 1 of the medevacs is down. And the Marines are just going to try to focus on a few of these Adepts. He does get the drop into the natural, however. And there's only a few Adepts here to stop this. 4 probes picked off. Widowmine almost detonating on the probes right there. There's another overcharge. It's going to kill the Widowmine, and the medevac's going to barely escape. This medevac empty, makes its way out. Did unpower the Twilight Council. So Blink is going to be delayed even more for Billowy as Ryang finishes up his third base. And both players finishing their thirds basically at the same time. So not too crazy. I still like this position for Terran. I always like the position for Terran if they're able to get their third base up at the same time as a Protoss, just because we do often see the Protoss players go for those fast thirds, at least in the non-Korean scene. So we'll have to see. Colossi can be extremely strong, though. They attack a little bit faster than they did in Heart of the Swarm. They do a lot less damage, but just to show, with +1, they only do 13 times 2. And with +1 attack, you would be doing 16 times 2 in Heart of the Swarm. Scans, gets the Observer, and Ryang is getting ready to move in towards Billowy's base. He's going to pull back. I mean, going up this ramp against Colossi and Sentries, you get force fielded and your army's just dead. I mean, they still have a good amount of splash damage. They do attack a little bit faster than the old days, so that DPS has kind of recovered a little bit. But the transition into Liberators has begun for Ryang. And depending on the number of Colossi that get made, right now, all Billowy is doing is just powering up. He's getting his +1 armor, he's got that Twilight going, +2 attack is on the way, and he's probing very hard, and now adding a few more Colossi. But the Gateway army itself isn't too big. He's spreading himself out to cover his tracks. We have a Marine going to the middle, a Marine going to the left, and 2 Liberators waiting in the bottom left, maybe in case a Warp Prism comes towards his base. And there we go, second Starport and the Fusion Core for Ryang. This is basically how you play Terran versus Protoss. You love to use those Liberators to shut down most of the Protoss army, and that Colossi can kind of deal with that in a weird way, where if you let the Colossus kill everything that you have, then the next wave can still make another big push forward. It's always very awkward, though, because the Colossi have so much health that the Liberators don't kill them super instantly, but I don't know. I think it's going to come down to the Liberator positioning. That's always one of the most important parts of Terran versus Protoss. And for Billowy, it's going to be using his units to get in position where he can stop that. Just a single pylon here. He pops the Guardian Shield and pushes the Terran army away. Only has 2 of his Colossi here. He has 1 at the natural. Third one is going to show up. And really good Observer positioning for Billowy. Able to keep track the whole way through of Ryang's army. This Liberator is going to go towards the back, though. Liberator range is on the way, but it's not done just yet. And he's going to siege up here. There's the overcharge. This Liberator's dead. He's going to get a probe. Just a probe. So not really, not the most cost-effective Liberator ever, but most important thing you can do as a Terran player, since he has 4 medevacs, in Legacy of the Void at least, is just keep building Liberators. They're basically the strongest unit in the game. So wouldn't mind to see him just keep focusing on that. He's getting +1 ship weapons, +2 attack for his bio units. And the armor being a little bit later, he's focusing in the attack upgrades just to make those Colossi splash a little bit better. Looks like he caught him out in the middle of the map. So Billowy is just basically playing this weird defense. Well, he picked up the Colossus and dropped it. Okay. Another big wave of Adepts is going to get warped. And I was going to say, there's a lot of Adepts being added into this army. We're at 15 now, and Resonating Glaives is only just halfway done. Not a fun place to take a fight before that upgrade completes. It is so important for your Adepts to have Resonating Glaives. Otherwise, they're not very good against Marines in those large numbers, considering that the Marines have that range advantage on them. So, Prism's been flying around the right side. These Marines are still kind of blocking the pathway here. But Billowy has a big army. He's very close to maxing out. With the Prisoner reinforcing, he can get a lot done. But his Stalkers pick up the Marines, but these Liberators very close to shutting down that Warp Prism. That's a very important part of this army for Billowy if he wanted to move out. But now he's going to be the one on the defensive. We had the Liberator starting to siege up with that advanced ballistics range. He could cut off Billowy from his natural expansion. There is a little bit of space to move through, but it's going to be very difficult if he spreads out against this. Yeah, Ryang's going to pull a large chunk of his forces to the natural. Immediately starts to kill one pylon, but there's the overcharge. The Adepts getting ready to teleport. The Liberators are ripping apart the Stalkers with 5 Colossi in the back, trying to hit these bio units, but Ryang's army is too well spread out, and everything just dies. The Colossi still stand strong, but for how long? They've lost the meat shield underneath them. Storm is very close to completing, but the Liberators have zoned them out very well. The Stalker count is so low, he can't really contest the Liberators. If he blinks into them, he will die. Great shots by the Colossi, though. Love the hold positioning, but these Liberators are still getting a ton of damage done. Somehow, some way, Billowy has held on to his bases, but Ryang is going to keep repositioning, reinforcing with more Liberators, and gets a few more of the Stalkers. Dives on top of one of the Colossi. He's not going to get either. Okay, he scans. He gets one. The second one very low, though. And he's going to kill the third base. I don't really think that Ryang can be stopped right now. Billowy has an extremely flimsy army. The Colossi are strong, but they cannot fight max bio by themselves, especially with Liberator support. And more Liberators are going to siege up. The third base is pretty much forfeit now. He's going to move to the natural. Yep, GG. Ryang is going to take the first game in this best of 7, I believe, here at the VSL. Nice. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the VSL. Looking at our blue Terran player in the bottom right. He is Ryang. Took that first map against Billowy for his team, and he's playing on New Gettysburg now. That first map win. His opponent in the bottom left, the red Zerg player, he is DRG. So VSL is, it's kind of like a, I don't know how to quite to describe it. It's like a pickup basketball league, you think about it, for Korean StarCraft players. It is supported by Twitch Korea, and it's basically just a Korean team league. Of course, as you guys know, with the dissolution of Pro League and all that, now these guys have something else to play for, something else to play in, and this has been really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy these games and enjoy these matches. And New Gettysburg, this is, generally speaking, a map that Terran players maybe don't like quite as much. Usually because it's very wide open. Moving between your natural and your third can get a little bit awkward. But mostly, you don't have a lot of choke points to work with. These ramps are very large. You've got big ramps pretty much everywhere. So it's not that easy to get into one of those chokes where you try to fight against lings or pretty much anything. So maybe Ryang will play to the map a little bit. We'll have to see. DRG opening up pretty standard. Nothing super crazy here. Hatch, pooling gas. Fast link speed is usually very normal since Reapers are a nightmare. Not going for speed would be pretty bad for a Zerg player against someone who opens Reapers, which is basically everybody. So Ryang's going to get the second barracks, and he is opening with a very, very standard Reaper expand into 2 racks. This is going to basically be like the Byun build that you guys saw used by Byun. I don't know why I just said that, because he's the guy that's everyone watched destroy everybody with it in BlizzCon. Or at least there's like that highlight when we were casting BlizzCon that it kept showing of his match versus Violet, where he literally just killed him with his first 16 Marines in stim. It's pretty brutal. So it's a fast 16 Marine stim medevac timing. Reaper comes out. This is really important here. A lot of the times, the Zerg player wants to take their third right around now. And this Reaper being here to block that drone from moving out is extremely crucial. Oftentimes, if you can get the Reaper here quickly enough to keep that drone away, you can force the Zerg player to invest somewhere else, delay their economy a little bit. You do not want the Zerg to just start that third base without any difficulty. Overlord speed is going to be added for scouting. Possibly some drops later on. New Gettysburg has a very direct drop path, since it's kind of like Arena in that way, where you have the islands in between, but it's more or less one way that you want to drop if you're going to hit your opponent's main base or natural, which makes it a lot easier to defend, a lot easier to scout. You don't have, you know, a Shakuris Plateau, 18 different angles of penetration for drops in the main. Reaper almost gets the creep tumor, continuing to poke around. So Ryang is just doing his thing. 3 Marines at a time now. Factory is ready. Starport's going to boot up. And he's just going to use this to set himself up for that big Marine timing we were talking about with 2 medevacs. Overlord's going to come in for DRG. He wants to scout. He wants to see what's up. And not going to see too much. Has a good idea of what this is, though. Multiple barracks. That usually says enough. Actually, you know what? That many Marines being there usually says enough. So this is probably one of the most common build orders. I'm not surprised if he already kind of has an inkling of what's going on. So you have an evolution chamber on the way in the natural. A couple lings being added. And you have to assume that DRG has played against this build a lot. Like, this is one of, if not the most popular strategies in Terran versus Zerg right now. And it's been pretty successful all year long. If you can execute this well enough, it is downright frustrating to play against. So the medevacs are going to start. Now that Ryang finally has the resources to get these together, and Lings are going to cross the map. Actually going to finally get that Reaper. He's trying to escape. And he will. So he's here to block that third base. We do have a drop Overlord on the way. I mean, there's no Baneling nest. So just going to try to drop a couple of Lings on the other side here. Looks like the Reaper does finally die. I mean, there's plenty of Marines. What I think he wants to do is drop as soon as Ryang leaves his base. So what he's hoping is Ryang is going to go across the map with these Marines and try to do this big medevac timing that's so popular. But, uh-oh. DRG, just wait. Just wait a little bit. Just wait a little bit. Oh, Ryang smells. He smells something fishy. He smells something weird. He's looking. Oh, seeing these Overlords would be huge. Yep, he spots them. The Marines are going to run straight up. He's going to stim. He's going to kill one full Overlord, and the second one is going to... He just drop it. Yeah, he can just drop. Well, he doesn't want to delay the attack too much, but now he cannot drop because that Overlord has 30 hit points, so Ryang's going to move across the map. DRG bought himself a little bit of time, but not the time that he wanted to buy with the Ling drop, because he didn't actually kill anything. He just threw away an Overlord and delayed the drop by maybe 15, 20 seconds since he went up to the third base. And these medevacs were headed towards the third, but now they're going to pull back. And most of the Lings are waiting in the natural, so this Overlord will spot. DRG knows what's coming. The Lings are moving in, the Queen as well. Not a lot of Queens, though, so he should be able to pick up if things get too dicey, and he will. And Ryang pulls back. That drop does come in eventually. Actually manages to unload all of the Lings. So he gets something for his money. But now the next medevac is here with a Widow Mine and 5 more Marines. And what are we missing right now? It's Banelings. There's 3 Banelings on the way. Is he going to try to get the focus fire down on these Banelings? It could be really big. At the very least, denying creep is super important. Gives him a little bit of wiggle room to move forward. That Widow Mine could also be game-winning if he gets a big shot off. And DRG is going to immediately try to plant those creep tumors down again. And Ryang is backing off. He's going to start his 1-1. It's actually finishing up, excuse me. Wow, waiting for that is probably a better idea. Widow Mine gets a good chunk of those Zerglings, though. And if Ryang can focus down the Banelings, this could be really big. He's going to get a few more of the creep tumors. 1 Baneling. Oh, almost a second one. So the most important thing is just kill the Banes. He transfuses the Baneling to prevent it from getting focused down. All right. But now he has a pretty big upgrade advantage, having that 1-1 versus just +1 Carapace. His Marines are going to be a little bit harder for those Lings to kill, and that means the Banelings are even more important. Only thing he's missing now is the Armory, which is about to finish. He's going to get that reactor on the factory and just go full bore into that Marine mine composition. Mine does get picked off before it can burrow. All he needs to do is just focus the Banes. Ryang's pushing forward by this third base once again, and DRG has all of his queens here to try and get the medevacs. All of the Banelings, save for 2 now, have been eliminated. He's going to drop a scan. Getting rid of these creep tumors is extremely important. I mean, there's enough queens here to replace them for decades, but he's going to step forward. The queens are starting to die, and that's really rough. Oh, excuse me, yet another drop in the main base. As my awful observing comes into fruition, and just needs to get the Banelings. No, he's going to pick up, go right back into the main, and Ryang is ripping DRG to pieces here with this non-stop bio-harass. And he's going to move forward. He gets another one of the Banelings. Only one detonates, and there's nothing left. It's just Lings. 4 more Banes are on the way, but by the time they come here, everything else will be dead. As Ryang focuses down those last few, and GG is called. Ryang is going to put his team up 2-0. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3. As we have a 2-0 lead in this all-kill format. As we have Ryang, who took the first 2 maps for his team in the bottom right position as the blue Terran. Cross spawns on Frost against this man, Super, in the northwest. The red Protoss player, so another TVP. And yeah, Ryang has definitely shown some pretty good chops in this match. He's beaten a Protoss, he's beaten a Zerg. Although, if Super plays the same way that Billowy did, I would be a little bit surprised. Ryang is going to go for Command Center first this game. Whereas Super most likely going to go for the very standard setup where he just gets the Nexus. He's only got 2 probes on gas, right? You want to keep your mineral income as high as you can, get the Nexus up, then get the Cyber Core, and then get the second gas. I guess he could mix it up too. We'll have to see. I always like Command Center first, especially considering the spawns on this map. The cross spawn is definitely going to be something that works very well for this. And it's that 1 barracks gas, probably 2nd barracks right after. So instead of going 2 barracks before gas or 3 barracks before gas, 1 racks, then gas, and then most likely that quick 2nd barracks reminds me a lot of the way that, I mean, this is basically the way that Byun played versus Stats. I think was it on this map? In the GS, or excuse me, in the BlizzCon semifinals. I cast that game, and I was actually, I find this very intriguing because the standard way to do it would be CC first, then 2 or 3 barracks, or you could go like 2 barracks and then 3rd command center. But Super has that Nexus on the way, and because it's CC first, the Terran player will have that base up faster, which is always very nice. So Marines are going to come out, probably a quick reactor. If nothing super aggressive makes its way super fast. Super. Super. And Ryang starts to morph that 2nd orbital command in the natural. So there it is. That tech lab and reactor are going to be started as soon as he had the resources. And then the 3rd barracks. So this is basically the same sort of way that Byun did what he did. Which is always very cool. Because I think we all say pioneering a lot of cool stuff. Although maybe this is more common than I give it credit for. I can't say I'm a super expert. And the first Adept is going to move on to the map with a probe. Probably going for the 3rd base. Is this? No, okay, he's going to just scout in case the Adept goes to the wrong side. I'm like, actually, no, he couldn't possibly go in for a 3rd base. That's way too early. Quick Twilight Council, though. With the 2nd gateway being added. So is this just fast glaives or blink? Okay, blink. So Super's going to go for a very quick blink setup. And this is going to give him a lot of utility defensively. If he wants to go for that 3rd base relatively fast, or if he wants to just get aggressive. Robotics facility is going to follow it up. As far as Warp Prism play goes, you usually do see a lot more of that out of builds based around Adepts. So without Resonating Glaives, it's hard to be sure. He is also playing with just 2 gateways, so the production isn't really there for a super aggressive build right now. Factory on the way, stim on the way, another reactor. Yeah, this is the very, I keep saying super, I gotta stop. This is the incredibly marine heavy composition that you'd think that Adepts are really good against Marines, but they can actually surprisingly get overwhelmed, especially if they don't have that +1 that allows them to 2-shot the stim Marines. So it's a cool setup to see out of Ryang. Meanwhile, Super's robotics facility finishing, and he wants to get observers. So I imagine that maybe he's going to go for the 433rd. Who knows? He does have, actually, these gases. So maybe it's... I mean, the setup is actually extremely similar to what we saw out of Billowy, except Billowy's Twilight Council was extremely late. So he didn't have Blink, but maybe this is just the way that people play nowadays. Who knows? Meanwhile, Ryang is just doing that standard Terran thing. Reactor on the factory and getting a starport up. Stimpack done very soon. So this is just him setting himself up. Yeah, okay, so it basically is what I just said. He's just doing very similar to that Billowy build right into the robotics bay. So he's probably going to try to use Colossi to take that third and use them to deal with this very heavy Marine count, which I do like. Colossi have historically been always very good units against Terran players that play with very heavy Marine counts. So I don't mind seeing this whatsoever. Double medevac is on the way. Very standard, very normal. Widow Mines won't be incredibly useful against this composition since Blinkstalker Colossus has that range. And let's see. Is this going to get the Colossus going as soon as it's ready to rock? Third base is on the way for Super now. And his big thing is going to be not taking too much damage, I imagine, from this next attack. As this Adept grabs a Marine, throws the Shade. And Ryang does not want that Shade to get in his mineral line, so he's going to back it up. He gets the Observer inside of his main base. So we have Extended Thermal Lance coming in. We have a Colossus on the way. And a lot more gateways. To be fair, he had very few gateways to begin with. Mostly relying on the Mothership Core defensively. The Observer sees the army moving out, so with the Adept at the tower, I get the feeling that Super wants to try to grab a unit or two. Maybe pick off this medevac. I mean, the medevac is right out in front. I mean, imagine if he got that kill so fast. He's going to blink for it, and he does get it. And these Marines that just stimmed, they cannot be healed, so he trades a Stalker for a medevac. And now if the Marines stim again, it's going to hurt even more since he only has one medevac to make this push with. Does nab the Observer, though. Getting that medevac is pretty important because that's a lot of the sustainability of this push. And it also means that instead of... This can also delay the Liberator follow-up, which we saw Ryang go for very quickly in game number 1. And Ryang is going to set himself up at the Watchtower. He's got a Widow Mine here. The second Colossus is almost ready, though, and it's going to be double Forge. So Super is going to make his way towards the upgrades as fast as he can. But you can see he's not building any probes. He's just getting units because he really recognizes the threat of this Terran army. But once he's got 2 Colossi with range, things should get quite a bit easier. He blinks to the side, grabs that Marine that was right there. And a drop is going to make its way to the main. 3 medevacs worth, looking for opportunity inside of Super's base. But 2 Colossi are just going to say, okay, we'll push that back. These guys want to run to the third base, but the Observer can see them. So plenty of Adepts and Stalkers are left behind. And this is what I'm saying. He has all these Adepts, but I want to see that Resonating Glaives if he's going to keep adding them in. He's got 11 Adepts right now. These Marines actually can contest against this few Adepts, especially since the Adepts do not have +1. We have an Adept watching the south side third base. Doesn't know that the third is being taken in the middle position. Ryang has a good amount of Marines and Marauders waiting at home just in case. And he's going to get that Liberator out now. One to help set up this push while he gets the rest of his barracks together. So Ryang has a good amount of forces out on the map, but Super's just chilling. He's getting a Prism now. His one is a little past halfway, and he's got Stalkers covering the main. These 3 medevacs, they're not getting anything done. Not in this main. I mean, he needs to try to find a different angle. A couple of Marines and Marauders heading towards the west side, but there's a pylon here. So he's going to be able to see that, which will drastically help in terms of defense. Meanwhile, yeah, Super's just chilling. So there we have the Fusion Core, Armory, Second Engineering Bay. These are all of the super mega standard things that Terran players need to win versus Protoss, of course. The Gateway Army itself is quite a threat. The Colossi give a lot more oomph and sustained DPS to this force. So Liberators are a necessary next step. And those bio units get fried. So Ryang loads up these medevacs again. He recognizes that the army is actually moving out. He has a Marine at the South Watchtower. He sees the Prism, sees his Adept, and look at this. Super waiting to show. He does not reveal that his army is moving there. These Observers see, and he's going to have very little time to react to this. So 4th base is on the way. Ryang should be able to shut that down. But can Ryang stop this big push making its way towards his base? Quite a few Adepts without Resonating Glaives. Good number of Blink Stalkers, a lot of sentries, and Colossi, he wants to force field the bio into this army. And without Liberator range, it's going to make things very tough. What? Okay, he just threw 8 SCVs into him, but meanwhile, big drop's going to land inside of the main base. Picks off the pylon, and the Mothership Core has been drained of its energy. A lot of the gateways unpowered. Meanwhile, Super's going for the counter day. He's going to get one of the Liberators up here, trying to re-siege. He does pop the Guardian Shields. The Force Fields push the bio away, and he's going to get to fight just with Colossi versus SCVs. Meanwhile, Probes and Stalkers having a rough time getting rid of the Marines inside of his main base. Super has the supply lead, but for how long, and how much of it is just in those workers that he's picked off? He needs to get the Liberators on these 1-1 Colossi. He's having such a rough time. The Marines are still alive in the main base. He's trying to repower his gateways. He only has 1 warp gate to work with. Okay, he's repowered the 2 on the right side. But he's killed the Colossi back home. Ryang has the Liberator set up on top of the ramp. And he's actually killing a lot of these forces. This is super, super big. And he's going to blink towards, get one of these Stalkers. Still, these Marines are alive. He still has that Widowmine. Oh. Okay, barely dodges it just in the nick of time. And Super's just using the third base economy. Now this Colossus to finally get Ryang's army out of his face. And Ryang has very little left. He has no economy, just 22 SCVs, most of them trapped in his main base. The third base is forfeit. He's going to try to start mining again on the natural expansion. But, you know, all those medevacs he lost definitely hurt quite a bit, especially the ones that he had out on the map, because that 4th base finished during all of this. That's a lot of money to pull in for Super. Extremely lucky, actually. Yeah, Ryang is not going to go for it at all. He realizes that the army is coming home. That is going to help quite a bit. Meanwhile, the Prism's going to bring 4 more Adepts. Imagine if these Adepts had Resonating Glaives. Super, I think he would have straight up won in those first few fights. A Resonating Glaives would be so big right now. Prism is going to escape with all 4 Adepts. And Ryang is just back on it. He's back in to getting that economy going again. Mining off of the third base. And replenishing everything that he has. So Super moving around just a little bit. He's going for 3-3 instead of Resonating Glaives. I do think that that's a pretty important upgrade. I'm kind of surprised, but maybe he doesn't realize he doesn't have it. Is this one Marine's gonna kill a probe? Maybe. Nope. He dies. A horrible, painful death. There is a Liberator here, though. He got all this set up, but he never actually got the Liberator range upgrade, so... He's going to get a few probes here, though. Nice, cutting off 2 mineral patches. Meanwhile, the Adept still dancing around into the natural. Ripping into the economy once more of Ryang. He's going to clean these Adepts up just fine. Now, 2 Colossi, more sentries to get that Guardian Shield. Is it going to be enough? Ryang has the Liberator set up. Super might just try to run around again like he did before. There's the scan, and he's like, God damn, I got to get my army into a good position here. But he can actually blink the Stalkers into the main if he just blocks this off. Let's see what he does. Liberators are going to siege. Super's not ready to commit just yet, but he could jump into the main base with the Stalkers and Colossi. Does remain to be seen. And he's just dancing. There's the scan. Oh, man. The Adepts are going to try to force him one way, while the main army forces him the other. A couple of Marauders will split off to try and get those units, but Ryang doing a good job of repositioning himself. However, that supply grossly in favor of Super, and now he finds 1 point where the Liberators haven't been covering. Gets a couple more SCV kills. He's going to throw some more Adepts through this Terran army, and he's going to say, hey, I'm going to keep killing your economy, brah. Just lets 1 go through. I love this. He cancels all but 1 shade. He knows he doesn't want to throw away 5 Adepts, but he realizes the value in having at least 1 there. And getting that 4th base earlier was so good for him. Let's look at the income. This is with mules and DTs. Oh. A DT going for the natural as well. It did get pushed back, but the third base is no longer mining. He's so broke he has to use all of his energy on scans for mules, so he can't even kill a DT. He can't do anything. His DT is actually just killing everything. Oh no, he's like, yes, go to the turret. Okay, there he goes. He finally had a scan, but there's still 1 at the third, and this Protoss army is just getting bigger and bigger. And I think now he's going to go for it. Yeah, the Liberators are unsieged. Stalkers laying waste to this Terran force. And the Colossi rip everything else apart. Super is going to take the first map win for his team. All right, it is time for game number 4 here. As we have Super, who took that first team win for afnikka. And gets themselves up to a 1-2. He's going to be playing against the next challenger, which is going to be Psystorm Gaming's True on the Train to Busan team. So, yeah, True. Going for the fast gold. We all know how True plays this game. He's got another drone moving out very quickly, I guess, to scout. Meanwhile, Super looks like he wants to just get a really fast Nexus. Just a super duper quick Nexus. His probe is going to see this hatchery at the gold. And he's like, okay, well, I might as well just get that base. Just get the Nexus. Get it up nice and quick. Drone for True is going to see that. He knows. And True has that gold base on the way. So we all know that True does crazy stuff. He's going to even gas block here because True loves to play these weird, annoying builds. But that's one of the things that makes him good, right? It's tough. It's tough to deal with that. You know, dealing with these positions where your opponent goes for the fast gold, then takes the fast other base. Just double hatch before pull. He's like, yeah, you went Nexus first, bro. I don't got anything to worry about. Doing fancy gas blockage and all that sort of thing. So I'm not the PvZ expert. So I'll do my best to give some solid commentary. But yeah, these games are going to be broadcast probably within 12 hours from now on of when they're played. So that's basically how it works, since these are broadcasts at like unwatchable times for most Americans, and myself included. So I'll be trying to bring you guys NA time broadcasts of these, and also just English VODs of this, since this was only commentated in Korean. The VSL guys, I reached out to them, and they did give me access to the replays, so I can cast these, and you guys can check these out. If I can, I will be putting these on my YouTube. So it is. I know this tournament is sponsored by Twitch, so as long as nobody tells me I can't, we should be good for that as well. So True has his gold base mining now. He has the pool done. He's going to get his queen on the way. And I guess he's going to go for a little bit more of a long-term base plan. Maybe when he gets speed, we'll start to see madness happen. One thing that True is definitely known for is his love of Zerglings. And that I'm not surprised of. Because, of course, he's that guy that loves to just run all over the place. Uses drops very aggressively. I kind of know forcing Super to take the gas in is natural here, since he did block the main, and because he has no units out, it's going to be quite a while before he actually gets that gas. His first gateways are ready, but the first unit he gets is the Adept, which he's just going to use to go across the map, scout, maybe get a drone if he's lucky, but can be tricky. It's going to be Resonating Glaives with a robotics facility for Super. And True is just, yeah, he's got an evolution chamber. Are we surprised? Probably going to be Overlord speed soon, too. I would not be surprised to see drop Overlord. He can elevator up here. Maybe he doesn't even, actually, he doesn't even need speed for this Overlord to elevator units up. So this Adept is going to dance around. He's like, okay, not really any drones there. Did he see that there were no drones? That's important. Wow, 2 Lings just got into the natural. That's not supposed to happen. Oh, gets a probe. Worth. And now this Ling's going to go into the main. He's going to see these gateways being added. He knows about the Twilight. He knows about the Robo. And he's going to see all these gates. And True's like, just got to say to himself, okay, yep, it's going to be quite a few Adepts probably coming into the fray here. I mean, theoretically, I guess he could be wrong in thinking it would be Stalkers, but Adepts are really good versus Lings. So if you're playing against True, Zerglings are definitely something that you should be expecting a lot of. Do Blue Flame builds. Do Resonating Glaive Adept builds. Follow it up with DTs, because why not? And we do have 4 Lings are going to get dropped into the main. True is getting ready to elevator through. As the units have not been warped in yet. The warp gates are just now prepared. These Lings are going to go for the probes. He still has that gas block too, and he's got a few Lings covering the front. He's going to get another pylon to help seal the door. Some Lings go to the natural, some Lings go to the main. But these Adepts have Resonating Glaives. They can fight against this a little bit better now. He's going to kill one of these Adepts. He needs to get some of these probes down, though. 7 Roaches are on the way. 4 probes in total have been killed. And we have a lot more Lings. The Warp Prism is going to bring out some more Adepts near True's gold base. He does have the Roaches to help deal with the Adepts. Tons more Lings on the way. More get inside of the main. He's up to 5 probes killed now. Going for 6. Barely not going to get that last one. And the Adepts are moving across the playing field. Looks like he lost a few of the ones that were in the Prism. So True has more Lings crossing the map. He's got that Drop Overlord ready to go again. The Dank Shrine is ready. Actually, no, he canceled it. Okay. There you guys go. Number 1 observer, NA. He canceled the Dark Shrine. There actually isn't a spore or anything here, but I guess he probably saw that it got canceled. So Adepts are just going to go right over to the natural expansion and just rip through these Zerglings. And the Prism gets into the main, more and more being added. And all he's going to do is just kill everything while dancing away from these roaches. He's inside the gold. He's going to kill the queen. These lings aren't going to be enough. Even just 1 or 2 roaches can't stop this many Adepts. He could kill the spine crawler while it's building for all he cares. Kills another queen. Going to kill another roach. And the lings did get in. They killed 3 more probes here, but a couple of defensively warped in Adepts are going to help hold the door. He's going to get a few more probes in the backline during all of this, but there's so many Adepts in his base. True has more roaches coming up to fight against this. He needs to use that shade again. 7 probes killed total. True is barely ahead in workers, but now sentries have been added. Make it even harder to get through. Gets 1 of them. And this is just Adepts, man. This is just the power of a lot of Adepts. But there's no third base and very few workers for Super. He's pretty much got to kill True here, right? Because True has, with 3 hatcheries, the ability to replace a lot of these forces. And I think he should be able to do that. There's really not a whole lot here. A few roaches, a few lings. He's back on mining the gold base, and he has the spine crawler there, which is also super important. But a couple zealots mixed in to help tank against the lings is also really nice. He can get that damage in against the roaches now too, as Super continues to fight and grapple with these units, picking up his weakened Adepts and making his way back towards that gold base. Few of these Adepts just die. He's got the natural pretty much on lockdown, but more lings and roaches are going to come out for True. Only got 31 workers to 27 probes. These Adepts are strong. He's just going to kill the hatch. What's going to be the play here? Every second he gives True is more time for True to rebuild and get the forces together that he needs. Teleports into the main base. He's trying to focus down the spine crawler. He's got a couple roaches here, a few lings to deal with. He's going to get rid of 1 of the roaches. 1 more roach remains. The spine is down. Those are the most important units, the spines and the roaches, because these Adepts make short work of the lings. Then he's going to teleport as he has the Warp Prism inside of the third base. He canceled the teleports to natural. Now he's going to throw the Adept Shades in again, and the Adept Shades from the gold base. And this is basically the rest of the drones for True. The roaches are all going to run down, but now he's on a 22 workers and falling even more. Gets rid of the spine. The Adepts are going to kill more of these drones, and he can just do more fancy pickup micro back into the main base and into the queen. And it looks like Super has brutalized True. He's just beating him to death with Adepts. Wow, it's beautiful and disgusting at the same time. Ripping in to this force. Just boop, boop. Just killing everything. Boy, oh boy. Man, it takes a lot out of you to commentate Adepts killing everything like this. Pretty sick. It's like getting beaten to death with a spoon. It's like, but I have a fork. That's not enough. Adepted. I don't have anything else to say, man. This was really well played by Super, ripping in pieces, but with 10 drones left, I don't know how True is going to bring this one back. He has units, but replacing them is going to be even more difficult than getting rid of this army. And yeah, he's actually got enough Adepts to just kill him. He's going to fight the roaches. He doesn't even care anymore. Eats the bile. No big deal. Looks like Super should be able to take this game against True. And give another win to the afnikka team. GG. All right. And we are loaded into game number 5 here, as we have a nice little tied series. In the top left, we have the red Protoss player. He is Super, who just used a lot of Adepts. A lot of Adepts against True. He's facing off against the blue Terran player, the world champion of 2016 StarCraft 2, Byun. Byun's pretty good. You probably heard of him before. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock. He's the best Terran, hands down. And I believe. So it's going to be gas first, interested to see where Byun goes with this. If you guys are curious, you guys want to know more, there's a big information post, all matches and the schedule as far as I know, on the Team Liquid page. You can also find the main channel for this, so you can watch this live, where it's broadcast in Korean on VSL_SC2 on Twitch. You could find the results. Their stream quality is actually really good too, so it's of course it's only broadcast in Korean, so this is the English broadcast. Yeah, hope you guys are enjoying this. So I'm just kind of doing this because I wanted to. So Byun's gonna open up with that Reaper. He's gonna get the command center on the way. Very standard things. No worker scout by either player, so can't blame him, I guess. Maybe he just doesn't expect that he would get cheese or anything. And it's going to be Reaper into Factory with a reactor. So a super quick 1-1-1 perhaps on 2 bases with that fast Marine Tank Medevac or Marine Tank Liberator. I don't know. I guess we'll see. This is definitely another one of those Byun builds. Because usually I know that Byun likes to do this sort of thing proxied. But he also likes to just play the straight up 2 barrack style. So Reaper's gonna come in. He's gonna get a probe. Byun's micro's so good. Yeah, of course he's gonna get a probe. He's Byun. Maybe even 2. Yeah, he's that good. 2 probe kills. And the Reaper's gonna escape. The Madman. The Madman. The only thing he doesn't know is what's going on in the main base. And that Stargate is gonna be a looming threat. So he's opening with a Widow Mine. He's gonna move into Starport and he's gonna build Marines. He should be able to get enough Marines out to deal with an Oracle, though, by the time it would arrive at his base. The question is, of course, whether his Marines will be in position to catch said Oracle, and whether he'll be able to use his Widow Mine or anything like that to also help deal with it. Byun is going to move forward. He's got his Reaper. He's going to get that Scout off. It is important. It's actually not an Oracle. He's just going straight for Phoenix. So maybe he's expecting Byun to cheese him, which is pretty fair. As good as Byun is, as good as he is at macro, he is as good at cheesing. So the Widow Mine's gonna chill in the natural. The Phoenix aren't gonna have too much usefulness in this early phase. Maybe they try to grab an SCV or 2. Depends on how many he wants to build. But you don't see crazy amounts of Phoenix usually built early in PvT. Phoenix Adept used to be more of a thing, but not quite so much these days. Who knows? Cyclone follow-up for Byun. Cyclone's just a great way to help deal with the Phoenix. You have that range, also phenomenal against things like the Oracle. The Medevac is just going to bring a single Widow Mine, and Super is more than prepared. He's got overcharges available. He's still adding on Phoenix. If the Phoenix lifts up the mine, it won't be able to do anything. So he's like, okay, there we go. Drop the mine, gets lifted. And Super has a stellar defense. He's going to start that command center at about 420, or should be the Nexus at about 420, and that will give him the expansion that he wants. Meanwhile, Byun's like, all right, let's just get third, start another barracks, get ready to go to Stim. I've got my Cyclone out to defend, and Super actually looking to be in a pretty solid start here. I mean, he shut down the aggression. He has the map control from the Phoenix. Maybe he's a bit concerned about a Liberator follow-up or another drop, so he's just going to keep the Phoenix out here. But Byun hasn't really been able to do a whole lot. He's going to go double engineering bay. I guess he's at this point just saying, all right, let's just get everything that we need for the rest of this game. Stargate openers don't really give you a whole lot of room to do early damage or do a whole lot to me. So Phoenix come in, grab an SCV. That's about it. He doesn't see the third base, but yeah. Let's see where else he's going to go with this. The E-bays are finished up. I'm going to try to get one of the Phoenix. Nice grab. Nice grab. Third command center is almost ready. Stim is on the way. Medevac's probably be coming out soon. He's got the reactor on the starport now, so it wouldn't be too surprising. Marauders are on the way. This actually is interesting, mostly because Byun has been doing a lot of these heavy marine builds recently in TVP. At least that's what we saw him do at BlizzCon. But going for double tech lab, I guess he wants maybe both upgrades. Maybe he'll switch to heavy marines later, or he's anticipating Colossi, which seem to be on the menu. He used them against Ryang earlier in this series, so would not be surprised to see him play with that style. 1-1 is on the way, though, for Byun. He's just getting his upgrades. He just wants to build, like, the army where he can just win with micro. He's just going to get everything in advance, and then he's going to micro you to death because that's what Byun is a god at. These Phoenix want to poke again, but there are a few Marines. That turret is still there. Stim is halfway done. 1-1 is also halfway done. Combat shield's booting up, too. It's going to lift an SCV. Delay the turret. And the third command center is going to plant down. So Byun can get mining on that. Of course, in TVP, the Protoss player can usually get away with this faster third than the Terran, so that they can get a nice setup where they can use their economy to build up a huge gateway army that can deal with a lot of the Terran aggression. The Phoenix come in. They're already harassing this third base. Just killed like an SCV here and SCV there. Only 3 this game. And Byun's only killed 2. So, nothing super crazy. He's going to get a Void Ray. Okay. I guess to deal with Liberators. Slightly unusual. Let's see it. I mean, there are some players that have used Void Rays to deal with Liberators and Vikings. It's just not, it's not that common. So, Phoenix come in. Another set of great harass. Delaying the armory, which Byun needs because his 1-1 is actually done. So, the Marines and Marauders are going to move forward now. Super's Phoenix sharking around. The Observer tags the army. He sees it. Cyclone's going to help get this Phoenix, maybe. Yeah, range though, fam. And he's going to try to get ready to push in on this army. Does Super have enough? He has quite a few Adepts. He does not have Resonating Glaives, though. And these Marines and Marauders are going to stand. There's the Guardian Shield. He gets the Pylon. And he's just going to kite back against this army. Let the Marauders eat the Adept shots and have the Marines do all the other damage. So it puts on a good first poke. The Void Ray is here now, too, which is also going to help against things like the Marauders and Medivacs if he gets too close to the sun. But Resonating Glaives is ready now, so he has that to work with. Concussive Shell's done. He's getting +1 air attack, so he's going to really lean into Void Rays as his anti-air. Void Rays are going to be like the primary anti-air if you're getting +1 air weapons before you get Blink. And you will get Blink, though. He's not a madman. He's crazy, but he's not a madman. So Super takes that first step forward and gets a stim out of Byun. What? That was unnecessary. That was unnecessary. He's going to start adding in Vikings. I think he's realizing the commitment to these air units because there's going to be so many Colossi and Void Rays. And the Void Rays can be surprisingly difficult to deal with because if your Marines are busy shooting at the Adepts or the Stalkers or the Colossus, then the Void Rays can rip through your Marauders and your Medivacs and your Liberators and Vikings extremely quickly. But Byun does not seem to be afraid of building lots of Vikings. I mean, we saw that in that match that he played against Showtime. And that was pretty crazy, right? Like, he commits super heavily, although Showtime didn't build that many Colossi. He pretty much stopped at 3, so we'll see how many more Super's going to get. I do believe 3 is enough of a threat with the Void Rays mixed in that you want to have a very solid anti-air presence. But the time that his Vikings spend shooting the Void Rays could also be time that the Colossi kills a lot more units on the ground. So let's see what Super wants to make of this situation as he is very close to maxing out on supply. I do not see a War Prism nearby, though, to reinforce. Okay, now one is coming across the map. Can Byun defend against this? That's the money question. A lot of his forces are left behind in the natural and main base area to deal with a possible Prism attack. There's the scan. He sees this army, and Byun, he's got to recognize, like, all right, I need to be here. I need to get in position to deal with this. Liberators are going to siege. Is Super going to force his hand? Oh, okay, so 2 Adepts go to the mineral line. He's trying to bait the bio. Is he going to make his move? Is he going to move in? The Vikings get a good couple of first pokes. Hits a beautiful EMP. Actually EMP'd the entire damn army. And this is I mean, you might as well move into the Protoss now. He got so much damage done. The Colossi have mostly been focused down. There's still one alive in the back. The Marines and Marauders just need to step forward. He's going to get the Marauders up front. He targets down the Colossus, and the Marines are going to rip through everything else. A beautiful engagement by Byun. Those cash money EMPs, though. Bam. Those EMPs just won him the game. He eradicated that army. There was no shields on any of the Colossi or the Void Rays, which let the Vikings kill everything so fast. And now he's like, one Colossus to defend the world. No, that's not going to work. He has a prison that wants to try and pull the army back home, but force fields don't last forever, and Liberators are in this game, and they are not scared of force fields. Another Void Ray comes out, but immediately picked off. Void Rays are so flimsy. He's just gonna, yeah, here's Bio, just kill everything. He's just gonna step right up, stutter step through the Protoss force, wipe out this army, and take game number 5. GG. And we're ready for game number 6 here. The VSL Korean StarCraft 2 Team League. Pretty good games, man. We had this guy in the top right just dunk on Super. I mean, those EMPs, as they say, he made it rain. He made it rain on that Protoss. So, now in a good spot, up 3-2. If he wins this game, Train to Busan will take the match. He is up against the Red Terran player in the southwest position by the name of Keen, who will come out for afnikka to try and help stop this. So, as we all know, well, maybe you guys don't know, Terran versus Terran, I find it to be a pretty stressful matchup. I have a rough time in this. I'm interested to see where both players go. Probably going to be Reaper Hellion opening. That's Terran versus Terran in a nutshell. That is basically how it works. For the people that have asked, it is all-kill format tournament. This is my first time broadcasting it. Just basically bringing you guys English coverage of the game. I am not an expert on the tournament. I am not going to claim to be an expert on the teams, or I will say I know a lot about the players just because I've been casting StarCraft for a long time, but I am here so that you do not only have Korean VODs for this tournament. That is my purpose. I butter toast. So both players opening with that Reaper Factory. So probably gonna be a little bit of Reaper Hellion. This is the most standard way to play. Like this is StarCraft 2 TVT in Legacy of the Void. You have the gas SCVs pulled off so that you can still get your command center up faster. Both players are doing that. They do not want to rush a quick starport. They prefer to get Reaper Hellion, and the reason why is Reaper Hellion is like basically the only thing you can use that'll deal with either Reaper Hellion or just Reapers. And I do believe it is gas first. So this build, if you try to do this without going gas first, if you go barracks, gas, you are actually still pretty vulnerable to 3-Rax Reaper. I learned that one the hard way. So yeah, command centers are en route for both players. They're back to mining their gases, and the starport's gonna boot up. Reactors on both sides. I mean, this is like mirror image, really. And I'm not just talking about that awful Hearthstone card that spawns 2/0/0 taunts, or 0/2 taunts, or whatever. But Reaper Hellion is how most games in TVT start. Go up to 2 Reapers, 2 Hellions, and then if you're not in the need of building any more, which you would know by now, you go right to Marines. Now, Byun definitely showed something very similar to this style in his matches against TY at BlizzCon. I apologize for coughs. I've been a little bit sick lately. Where he did this very quick Marine tank drop. Just 4 Marines and a tank and just boosted across the map. And basically just trying to catch your opponent off guard. And TY responded in kind with a little bit more defensive builds, fast Cyclones. I do believe we'll see a Cyclone after this tank for Byun, as he has also kind of been favoring that. So we'll see where both these players want to go with this. Liberator is going to move out. This is why the follow-up Cyclone is so important, as it is on the way now for Byun. Very, very important to deal with this. Reaper's just going to get in, though, because he just flew all of his units across the map. And that's got to be annoying. So Keen is getting work done as Byun makes his way across the map. He's got quite a force here. I mean, the tank is really got to be the icing on the cake. So the Reaper, annoying, but now dead. And that Liberator is going to show up. The Cyclone is about to come out, though. And Byun is moving in on Keen's natural. He's going to drop the tank. Immediately pulls back as the SCVs get pulled off the mineral line. He does not want to fight into the SCVs. Liberator grabbed 3 kills. Or excuse me, just 1 kill during all of this as the SCVs were pulled off in just the nick of time. Siege tank is still here to put pressure on, though. And the Liberator is going to make his way over towards the main base. There is a Viking here to kill it, but he'll get a few SCVs. 3 SCVs is nothing to scoff at as the rest of this army pushes. He actually moved the Cyclone across, too. He's going to... Fancy tank micro there. Gets the Cyclone. Loses the tank in the medevac, though. And immediately, Keen's going to start at third base. So, Byun took a couple of hits on the jaw, but he's still standing strong. He's still hanging in there. And the follow-up. Byun's going to go into a very, very late Cloak Banshee. And TY. I want to say TY because now I'm thinking about that Terran vs. Terran series. And Keen is going to follow this up with the Cyclone. He wants to replace the Cyclone that he lost because he recognizes the value that it holds. Well, Byun just killed... Was that 2 Reapers or just a Reaper and a Marine? Nice. He ran into that with his Cyclone. There's the scan from Keen. He sees pretty much everything that he needs to see. No one gets a Raven upgrade. Nobody gets the Raven upgrade. Don't forget to breathe, Nathan. No one gets the Raven upgrade, so... It's Cloak Banshee. And he's going to cancel Cloak, just lift up and move. He's like, you know what? He's scanned. No reason to waste my time getting Cloak because he's going to have turrets or scans. He's going to save energy for scans. So he moves straight into getting Stim, tanks, and Vikings. And you, of course, want the Vikings to stop anything that can come at you like a quick drop or anything of that sort. All right. So we have now this Banshee coming in, but there's already Marines here. Maybe he could try to micro and kill a few of these because... He could one-shot quite a few of these Marines with the Banshee if he tried. Almost gets one, but yeah, this was never going to do anything. This Banshee was never going to accomplish much. Once the Cloak got scanned and then he just canceled it, like obviously the Cyclone would be able to deal with the Banshee. So, Keen has that third base up and running though, whereas Byun has only just now finished it. He's got his orbital to start, but Keen has a turret here, he's got mules, and his orbital is transformed. So he's building 3 workers at a time, or at least he can. There we go. And just setting up that Marine tank. It's going to be bio versus bio. Big tank drops are going to come into play, most likely. It makes the Vikings extremely important. It makes the Vikings extremely valuable for defending your bases, trying not to get wrecked too hard. And we'll have to see what he's going to do from this point onward. Which player's going to get aggressive first? What are they going to wait for? I imagine typical TVT law says that there's a bit of an armistice until 2-2 is like halfway done. So both players are going to get their armories. They're going to start 2-2. They're going to have maybe a second factory. And it might be a drop or two, but... The big army doesn't usually move out with Marines for quite a while since you're investing everything into your production. You're building reactors. You're adding on extra barracks. It's about getting a drop or two, and it's about getting some leverage, getting an advantage in some way. Oh, Cyclone takes a big shot there. He's trying to finish it off. He gets one, and that Cyclone is not going to be able to get anything. These 2 medevacs, though, for Keen, still moving along. And I like this, man. Double trouble. He brings his Cyclone out and picks off Keen's. He's trying to use the vision. Wow. Okay, so Keen's tanks in danger. These bad boys are going to go down. And he's just like, all right, well, could land my Vikings. Oh, my God. Beautiful control out of Byun. He does get dropped inside of that third base, however. The SCVs immediately pulled away. He's lost 4 so far, up to 5, 6, 7 plus. He has a tank here. He has Marines to help defend. His third base is taking quite a shelling. As this medevac drop does get pushed away, so Byun has taken control back of his base. Keen is probably going to try to drop onto these, I'd imagine. Oh, the Cyclone actually locks onto the medevac. Oh, nope, no. The medevac took a lot of damage. The Vikings might get it. Okay, both tanks are going to be able to drop. Picks him up just in time. Still getting even more and more value out of this tank drop. Unbelievable. Wow. So Byun just showing his godlike control. He got value out of these siege tanks. These were the MVTs, man. Most valuable tanks. The Vikings are finally dead, but 8 SCVs died. Medevac got caught trying to cross through the middle of Byun's. And he's going to end up bringing one of those hero siege tanks home. He's going to bring that hero tank back. And Byun resituating himself now on this third base. Getting everything going again. Upgrade-wise, wow, actually, Keen's in quite a good spot. His 2-2 is pretty far ahead. He's getting a sensor tower now to cover that third base from any more drops. And where will Byun go from here? He doesn't have combat shields yet. Keen did get that first. Also, I like that the players are using skins. I love that the players are using skins. Tournaments should let players use them. They really should. It's like free advertising for Blizzard. Oh! Tried to use the tanks to scoop up that drop. There is a tower by the third base of Byun. And just, yeah, building up that siege tank count, getting more Marines. 2-2 is going to be done pretty damn fast, though, for Keen. And Byun needs to be careful. Those tanks in a very awkward spot. He's just going to drop here. Going to unload on that siege tank. But, ooh, takes a big shot on his Marines. Meanwhile, there are 2 medevacs. Only 8 Marines on the right side. Byun wants to find the rest of those Marines. Oh, my God. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, he just destroyed half the army. These 8 Marines are still doing nothing. There's a tank here in Marines, so you can't really push into there. And now Byun's +2 is getting close to finishing. Although Keen's had his +2 for quite a while now. So Byun's in a pretty aggressive posture, trying to get some work done on this base. He's trying to break down these rocks. He's got his tanks moved. Uh-oh. So many tanks for Byun. He's ripping into some of those bio units. Push back into the nick of time. Big supplement to that drop, though. Keen is going to try to force Byun home, and the rest of his Marines are going to come. Byun does have enough. Of course, these 2-2 Marines, they still trade pretty damn well. Even though Byun came back in time to defend, Byun's 2-2 is only just now ready, so kind of a rough start there. Keen's moving his medevacs back home. Byun's macro's been on point, though, fam. He's got a lot of units on the map. Quite a few. 57 Marines and 7 tanks versus 35 and 6. And that Marine count lead could be everything. He does not have 3-3 on the way, whereas Keen does. So it's very heavily... He's still going to be behind when those upgrades are done for another small period of time. Oh my God, he's just going to run into these tanks. He scans. He drops his tanks. He's ready. I mean, that's pretty much all TBT is about that tank drop. Not for long, though. Byun's going to drop his and gets one shot off on some of these Marines. Keen trying to use the Vikings to push Byun away. It's not going to be easy. He's going to drop by the third, leveraging this position, and he's saying, you have to attack into my tanks now because I'm on top of this base and you're third here. So he's getting rid of some of the production, possibly. The reactors are extremely valuable coming into the production of Keen. And Keen's just going to load up 3 medevacs full of Marines to run across the map. He's playing with fire the way he's poking up here. He's loading up a lot more. Okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to go YOLO. The medevacs should be on his radar now. Sensor tower, they're in range. Marines and tanks are on their way. But is it going to be enough? A lot here for Keen, and that 3-3 is very close to finishing, too. Does drop some Marines into the third base of Keen. Spreads his forces out, though. The tanks are not all here. And Byun able to get a couple of solid picks off, but Byun's third base is going to be destroyed. He kills the command center. And at the same time, a big counter from Byun going through the north side this time. The tanks of Keen are not in position. The SCVs are going to immediately get pulled. But there are so many tanks here, and he's still moving up to encroach on this third base. Byun just needs to hold his main together. 3-3 is about to finish for Keen. He doesn't have it yet, though. That allows his forces to barely rout this attack. And Keen has held on to his main bases. Of course, he's been mining off this 4th planetary for a while. Byun with a lot less workers at his 4th. And at the end of the day, the supply dead even with Byun. Just a little bit behind on those +3 upgrades. command center is on fire. Or that barracks, excuse me. Byun has a big army. Let's look at the supply. 47 to 21. 3 tanks to 6. So the Marine advantage means if he can catch him out in the middle of the map, if he can swallow this force. Let's see. And that is enough siege tanks to lay absolute waste to this army of Byun. So Byun has to just be super cautious when you fall behind in the tank count like this in TVT. He's just gonna go right for this army. Unbelievable. And Byun has so many Marines, he's gonna kill everything. Disgusting fight. I wasn't even speaking because I was just like trying to see what was gonna happen. And I think Byun now with the forces that he has, that was a beautiful engagement. All the tanks got dropped and they couldn't even shoot by the time the Marines had killed them down or gunned them down. He just attacked up a ramp against siege tanks. Well, kids, don't do that. Try not to do that. That was rough. And the planetary killed that one lone Marine. Nasty way to go. All right, so Byun is now making his way towards that fort. The tanks are covering the ramp. He's got to be careful. And now he's going to go back down towards the third base. Byun always fighting for positioning here, but Keen is going to try to drop his tanks inside of the main to get rid of these Marines. He's going to get the sensor tower. He could go for the reactor. Byun everywhere at once. This defensive spread from Keen, though, he's still getting ripped into. Is he going to try to flank this or just counterattack? Byun does have his main floated over to a 5th location. A lot of Marines going for that counter. And Byun, he's just going to kill the third base here. Eats quite a few tank shots. Oh, his reinforcements are going to run into this attack. Byun needs to move his army. He's realizing what's going on. Okay, he's got some more of his forces together here. And Keen is going to push up this ramp into Byun's would-be third base. It would be natural, but floated to his third. And with the tank support at home, he actually cleans up that attack very nicely. The medevac gets killed with all of the Marines inside. He scans. He's like, oh, okay, you floated your command center there. And now these SCVs just, boop, just send them down. Send them on down, boys. And a big tank drop from Keen on the ramp. Oh! Most of Byun's tanks not siege, as he does not have enough medevacs to ferry all of them. Byun's trying to play a little bit more on the Viking side. Can't blame him. Keen's +2 siege tanks are extremely powerful. He's starting to pick into them, though. He's getting a few of the tanks out. And now Byun has a lot of money coming in from the extra bases he's taken. Income tab really tells the story of this situation. I mean, Keen is just bleeding out, and Byun has so much. Whoop, he's going to just go for it. He runs the Marines down the ramp. He's got the tanks in the back to support this. Maybe not the smartest move. There are 2 medevacs on the north side looking to drop, perhaps, but you got to play around the tanks. As they say, you got to do the cooking by the book. And these 2 medevacs are going to make their way inside of Byun's base. Marines are running over to defend against this as we speak. Might need to use the SCVs here, too, to help buy himself some time. And he shall. Medevacs are good units, though, guys. Trying to fight against medevacs without having your own is very tough. Byun's still looking for a way to try to get another game-winning position on him. Grabs one of the medevacs. The tank dropped just in the nick of time. Another big attack. Oh, this could be huge. Byun has to lift his command center. These Marines, they should be able to just... No. The tank's in the high ground. Byun still just barely always in the right position. And his army comes home to catch these forces. I actually can't keep track of everything. This game is happening so fast. Actually super impressed at how long Keen has survived here with being down so far in supply. It's actually remarkable to think about, honestly. I mean, Byun's just been trying to jockey for position to win this game for a while. He has had such a nice position for so long. He's going to float out the main base, or that might even be the natural at this point, over to the gold. It's a good position for those tanks. He actually does get one of Keen's, grabs another medevac. And he might just, oh, he's just going to drop. Oh, good tank drop. Clips off a good number of units off the end. And he's just going to go for the aggressive tank push. Okay, well, he should be able to attack into him, right? He's got enough Marines to attack into this. Maybe. It's still dangerous if the tanks are sieged, but what if he just heads to the northwest? Yeah. I don't know what he's going to do. Yeah, exactly. He's not scared of this. He's not scared of that army. He's going to siege the tanks, kill the planetary fortress, man. He's going to give a damn, and that's exactly what he does. Focuses it down. Keen, though, is going to reposition his tanks and immediately eat damage. GG is called as Byun takes the map, and that is going to give a